Toxic people do not get confused by arguments. They thrive on them. They get confused by silence, because silence removes the script they prepared for you. When you argue, you are playing a role they wrote. You're the villain, the victim, or the aggressor. But when you stop reacting the way they expect, their control begins to collapse. Emotional intelligence is not loud. It is calm. And calm behavior terrifies manipulation because it signals that you are no longer a participant in their game. Today, we are going to look at the psychology of non-reaction. We're going to explore 7 silent moves that shift the power back to you, leaving the toxic person alone with their own chaos. Welcome to High Race Mind. Most advice tells you what to say to difficult people. But the most powerful psychological strategy is often what you do not say. Silence is not passivity. It is a strategic defense system. By mastering non-reactivity, you stop feeding the dysfunction. You step out of the arena entirely. When you engage, you validate their reality. When you disengage, you validate your own. Today, we are breaking down the higher resolution psychology behind silence, turning it from a passive absence of sound into an actionable, impenetrable shield. The first move is the immediate cessation of the need to be understood. Toxic individuals often bait you into a cycle known in psychology as J.A.D.E, justify, argue, defend, explain. When you feel misunderstood, your instinct is to correct the record. You want to justify your choices, argue your logic, defend your character, and explain your intent. But with a toxic person, you must understand you are not communicating. You are supplying ammunition. They do not listen to understand you. They listen to find a weakness in your argument to exploit. Every explanation you offer provides them with a new surface to attack. When you stop explaining, you enact a J.A.D.E embargo. You realize that your reality does not require their signature of approval. If they accuse you of being selfish, you do not list the 10 times you were generous last week. Simply accept that they are committed to misunderstanding you. By withholding the explanation, you force them to sit with their own false narrative while you remain untouched by it. Keep your truth to yourself, and confusion begins. Reaction is instinct. Response is intelligence. Toxic people rely on your instinctual reaction to keep the drama alive. They push a button, and they expect a specific sound. When they insult you, they expect anger. When they guilt trip you, they expect apology. To confuse them, you must introduce a psychological gap between their provocation and your action. We call this the glitch pause, rooted in Viktor Frankl's concept of the space between stimulus and response. When they say something intended to hurt or trigger you, do not speak immediately. Wait 3 full seconds. In that silence, you are not freezing, you are processing. You are overriding the amygdala's fight or flight command and engaging your prefrontal cortex. This brief silence breaks the rhythm of the conflict, makes the toxic person wonder if you heard them, or worse, if their words failed to land. When you finally speak, you do so with a flat, neutral tone. You address the facts, not the feelings. You have broken the stimulus-response loop. You are no longer a puppet. You are the observer. The desire for closure is a human need for narrative coherence. We want the story to make sense. We want the ending to be fair. But with toxic individuals, the story is designed to be chaotic. They will never give you the apology, the admission of guilt, or the validation you seek. Asking for closure from the person who broke you is like asking a thief to help you install a security system. They have a vested interest in leaving the door unlocked. The silent move here is to accept that you will never get the last word in the way you hope. You stop asking why they did what they did. You stop trying to force them to see your perspective. The closure comes from your own decision to disengage, not from their agreement. When you stop chasing them for an ending, you deprive them of the power to keep the book open. You close the book yourself, mid-chapter if necessary, and place it on the shelf. You win without a war. Amateurs announce their boundaries. Masters simply enforce them. Telling a toxic person, "I won't tolerate this," is often an invitation for them to test that limit. It becomes a negotiation. They hear a challenge. The silent move is access revocation. You do not threaten to leave. You simply become absent. If they are disrespectful on the phone, you do not lecture them on respect. You end the call. If they show up late to disrespect your time, you are not there when they arrive. This is behavioral conditioning. You teach people how to treat you not through lectures, but through the immediate withdrawal of your presence when lines are crossed. If you argue about the boundary, you are still engaging. If you silently enforce it, you are commanding respect. They learn that their toxicity results in solitude. There is no argument to win because you are not there to argue. You have removed the privilege of your access. This strategy is often called gray rocking, but psychologically it is the practice of becoming uninteresting. Toxic people feed on narcissistic supply, which is any form of attention, positive or negative. Your anger is just as tasty to them as your adoration. It proves they matter. It proves they have the power to control your emotional state. To confuse them, you must become as dull as a gray rock. You offer no emotional traction. Your face remains neutral. Your answers are monosyllabic. Okay, I see. Interesting. You do not offer details about your life, your day, or your feelings. You become a two-dimensional character in their movie. When they cannot extract a reaction, they get bored. A bored manipulator is a harmless manipulator. It cannot hook into smooth stone. Okay? They will eventually move on to a source that provides more fuel, leaving you in peace.
8.
Intimacy requires safety. Vulnerability is a privilege that must be earned. Toxic people often use the information you share, your fears, your dreams, your past mistakes, as weaponized data. They store it away to use against you later. They map your triggers so they can press them when they need control. The silent move is the information diet. You stop sharing your inner world. You talk about the weather, the traffic, or neutral news, but you keep the door to your soul locked. When they ask probing questions to find a soft spot, you give vague, non-committal answers. You protect your vulnerabilities by keeping them out of sight. This creates a psychological distance that they cannot bridge. They may physically be in the room with you, but they no longer know who you are. You have become a stranger to them, and a stranger cannot be manipulated effectively. The final and most powerful silent move is the release of the need for validation. We often stay in toxic dynamics because we want to prove we are good, or that we are right. We want the world to see the truth. Fear the smear campaign, where the toxic person lies about us to others. But the truth does not need a defense attorney. It exists on its own. Moving on without proving anything means you accept that they may smear your name. They may tell lies. Let them. Your character will outlive their narrative. By walking away silently, without a grand exit speech or a final attempt to clear your name, you demonstrate supreme confidence. You signal that their opinion of you is irrelevant to your existence. You focus your energy on building a life so full and authentic that their toxicity cannot reach it. This is the ultimate victory. Silence is not empty. It is full of answers. It is the sound of you taking your power back. If this resonated with your soul, you are not alone. Subscribe to High Race Mind, where silence speaks and growth begins within.